Hi everyone. Today's lesson is on multi-step problems dealing with the law of sines, the law of cosines, and the area of a triangle. Now, these are what your assessments are going to look like. You're going to be given a four-sided figure that you're going to have to find information about: sides, angles, and areas. So this one specifically is going to ask you to find the area of the figure. All right, if it were a rectangle or a square, it'd be easy, but it's not, so we have to go about this a different way. So what we're going to do for starters is we're going to label each triangle, triangle 1 and triangle 2, so we know what we're dealing with here. In order to get the area, I need two sides and the angle in between them. Do I have that in either triangle? The answer is yes, I have it for triangle 1. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to find the area of triangle 1. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use the area formula, which is 1/2 BC sine of angle A. Now I labeled my figure the way that it would work to get those angles to be the way they need to be. Angle A is the angle I need to know, so I did put the A right where the angle is that I know. The side across from the B is the 41, so this is side B, and this is side C. So now we substitute the values in. We get 1/2 times 41 times 42 times the sine of 48 degrees. Now, when you go to your calculator to type this in, make sure your calculator is back in degree mode. If you had changed it to radian mode, it needs to be in degree mode for this. And I'm not going to show you the buttons to push because it's just pushing regular standard buttons. And so this answer comes out to be rounded 640 square meters. So the first area is complete. All right, now take a look at the figure again. In order to find the area, I'm going to need which side? Well, I have the angle 34 degrees right here. I have this side. I need this side over here in order to find the area. This is called side CD because it goes from C to D. Okay? The only way you can find a side is either with the law of sines or the law of cosines. The only problem is I need 3 pieces of information on a triangle in order to do this. I only have 2 here. So I need to find a third piece of information, either a side or an angle. The thing that will be the easiest to find is this side right here because it is shared by both the triangles. So I'm going to go and I'm going to find how long BC is. So my next step is going to be find BC. How long is BC? Well, the first thing I need to do is decide, can I use the law of sines or the law of cosines? And remember the rule, if you know an angle and its opposite side, you can use the law of sines. The only angle that I know is the 48. Do I know its opposite side? No, I don't. That's what I'm looking for. So since I don't know any other angles, I have to use the law of cosines for this problem. So this will be a law of cosines problem. The formula for law of cosines is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of angle A. Now let me stop for a minute. Why did I choose that law of cosines formula and not the other one? The reason I did is because I am looking for side A. This side is the side across from angle A. Whenever you're looking for a side, you start with a squared. If you're looking for an angle, you start with the formula that starts with cosine of A equals. Now it's time to plug in the values that we know. B is 41 and C is 42. So A squared equals 41 squared plus 42 squared minus 2 times 41 times 42 times the cosine of angle A, which is 48 degrees. When you put that into the calculator, you will get a squared equals 1140.514 and some more decimal points. Now, that is not your answer for a. That is a squared. So remember that you must take the square root of both sides in order to get that answer. So you're going to type in square root and then answer to do this. I accidentally wrote a squared there. A is going to be 33.77, which we are going to round to 34 since all the other sides are given in whole numbers. So side A is 34 meters. So I'm going to come back over here, erase my A, and I'm going to put 34 right there, 34 meters. Well, that's kind of interesting. 34 degrees is across from 34 meters. That's just a coincidence. Now let's remember what our goal is. Our goal is to find side CD. So because we need side CD to find the area of triangle 2. We do now have an angle across from a side, but do we have the angle across from side CD to find it? The answer is no. We don't have it just yet. With the information that we have, we could find this angle right here because it is across from side BD, which is 46. If I knew this angle here, and I know this angle here, then I can find the one up here because all three triangle angles add up to what? They add up to 180 degrees. So what we're going to do is we are first going to find this angle down here, then we can find this angle up here, and then we can find side CD. So, step 3. Find the angle across from the 46 meters. Now the name of that angle is BCD or DCB. When you name an angle, you trace it from either BCD or DCB. You can go either way. So this happens to be angle. I'm going to call it BCD. I'm going to call it X. So that's going to be the X I'm solving for. I need to do the law of sines now. So it's going to be the sine of X, and it's across from the 46. And I'm going to now use the two that I know. They're both 34, so that makes it a little bit easier to write it down. Sine of 34 degrees across from the 34 meters. Remember that you always put the angle or the side on top, whichever one you are solving for. Since I'm solving for the angle goes on top, which means the sine goes on top. Okay, let's review. How do we solve for X? We have to multiply both sides by the 46. I'm going to just put it in a bracket. It's a little bit easier to do that way. That's going to cancel that out. So now I have sine of X equals, I go to the calculator, I type in sine of 34 degrees times 46 divided by 34, and you should get something like 0.7565 ... Your calculator should be in degrees when you do this. Now to find X, we're going to do the sine inverse of the answer, which in this case is going to round to be 49 degrees. So my angle X is 49 degrees. So I'm going to erase my X, and I'm going to put 49 degrees right there. Now, the angle I really need is this one up here. Can I now find that angle? And the answer is yes. That is angle DBC. Remember that all three angles in a triangle add up to be what? They add up to be 180. So I can now find that angle right there, DBC. So angle DBC is going to be 180 minus 34 minus 49, which will be 97 degrees. So now I know that this angle right here, that's kind of multicolored, this one is 97 degrees. Okay, we've gone around a long way to get the information that we need for this problem. All right, now we are ready to move on and find side CD. So step 4 is to find side CD. That's the one side on this triangle I don't know yet. And how are we going to do that? Do we know an angle and its opposite side? The answer is yes, the 34 and the sine of 34. So we can now use the law of sines to find CD because it's across from the 97. So we are going to use the law of sines. So since we're looking for the side goes on top. We're going to call this side y for now. So y over the sine of what angle? 97 equals, it doesn't matter which of the other two you use. I'm going to just use the ones I used before. 34 over the sine of 34 degrees. Now, how do we solve this again? We're trying to get y by itself. So we need to move the sine of 97 by multiplying. So we multiply both sides by the sine of 97. When we type that into the calculator, you should get that y is equal to approximately 60 meters when it rounds. So I'm going to change my y to 60 meters. All right, I now have everything that I need to solve this problem. So I can now find, and I'm sorry my lines are off here, I can find the area of triangle 2 by using its formula. That's step 5. So this is going to be area equals 1/2. Now, which two sides do I use? I use the two sides that surround the angle that I'm going to use. I'm going to use the angle I started with. It's always best to use in formulas, if you can, things that you start with, because you know that if you make a mistake on something else, that mistake will carry through if you continue to use that wrong number. So I'm going to use the 34 and the 46 because those were there from the very beginning. So this is 1/2 times 46 times the 60 times the sine of 34 degrees. And when you type all of that into the calculator, you're going to get that the area is approximately 771.686, as I wrote it to, which rounds to 772 square meters. So now I know the area of both triangles and I can find the area of the whole shape. The total area is going to be the 640 that I got before, plus the 772 that I just got, and that adds together to make 1,412 square meters. Today's lesson is online, and it is not bookwork. It is actually a website that you're going to go to. So when you go to this website, let me show it to you. On this page right here, it says Online Multi-Step Practice. If you click on that, it's going to take you to this page called students.mathsnz.com. On this page at the top, they have some formulas. These are similar to the formulas that we've been using, but they are not exactly the same as the ones we've been writing down. So I strongly recommend that this is the time that you make your own formulas page because you get to use it on the assessment. So on this page, they walk you through the steps as to what to do to find all the sides, all the angles, and then potentially the area. As I did, and I talked through it, I said, step 1, you do this first, then 2, then 3, then 4. These problems here, these first ones, do exactly the same thing. They walk you through. They say first find length x. Then they say find the area of the triangle with the 47 in it. And they ask you what to find, and then you click on check, and it'll check your answers for you. If you are doing achieved only, I recommend that you do the first 2 pages. Now look at the top of the page. Do you see the green square at the very top that's highlighted next to the piece of film? That means you're on page 1. If you click on the next one over, you will go to a new page, and this has some more problems on it. If you are doing achieved, you do not need to go any farther than the second page. By the second problem on the second page, they're just giving you a shape only, and you have to do everything. Those of you going for merit or excellence, you need to go on to pages 3 and 4. Notice that page 3 has a sector in it that you're going to have to find the area of. And page 4 is even more complicated than that. Do you have to do every single problem? Not necessarily. If you're doing a merit or excellence, I suggest you do maybe one off of each of these pages. And as you do the problems, if you click on check, it will tell you whether or not you did them correctly. There's your answers. This is the last new material before the assessment. Once you finish this, you will be doing a practice task. If we happen to be back at school by this time, you can then take your assessment for this unit. All right, good luck, everybody, and I hope this made sense, and let me know if you have any questions.